This is a video going over the product, quotient, and power rules for expanding logarithms. So it's from section 4.3 in the homework. Alright, so our instructions are expand and fully simplify for each of these. For number 1, ln, that stands for the natural log. And remember that when it says like ln of x or whatever, there's nothing written down at the bottom, but that implies that there's a base of e. So whenever you see that ln notation, that implies that there's that base e. And remember that e is a constant that's approximately 2.72. So it's a weird irrational number, just like pi is approximately 3.14. So whenever you see ln, the base is e. It's an understood base of e. Okay, so we want to expand natural log of 14e to the 7th power. So I just want to point out that we're going to use the product rule here. I'm trying to say that these are multiplied and I can't. Okay, so anyway, this is really natural log of 14 times e to the 7th. If I could just write a dot there. There we go. 14 times e to the 7th, so sorry for that sloppy writing there. So because of that, we're going to use the product rule. Okay, because we're taking the natural log of a product. Alright, so this means that we can split this product into the sum of two natural logarithms. So I'm going to write this as natural log of 14 plus the natural log of e to the power 7. So whenever you're taking the natural log of a product, you can switch this into two separate logarithms added together. And then if we want to fully simplify this, because we're almost there, natural log of 14, we can't really simplify that, so we'll leave that alone. But where it says natural log of e to the 7th power, sometimes when I'm showing my work, I like to just remind myself that there's a little base e down there. You don't have to write that. So when it's saying the natural log of e to the 7th, it's really saying my base e to what power equals e to the 7th. And the answer to that is 7. So the natural log of e to the 7th power just simplifies to the number 7. I'm going to carry down that natural log of 14 plus with it, and that would be my fully simplified final answer. Okay? So that original expression equals natural log of 14 plus 7. And this is really important. Don't go crazy with this. So sometimes students get really excited and they're like, natural log of 14 plus 7. Hey, 14 plus 7 is 21. And then they mistakenly write, oh, that's the natural log of 21. But that's not the case, so be really careful with that. When you're writing it like this, natural log of 14, you're only taking the logarithm of 14. And then there's just a plus 7 tacked onto the end, so just keep that in mind. Okay, let me switch colors for this next one. Alright, so for number 2, we're taking the natural log of a quotient, e to the 7th divided by 14. So we're going to use the quotient rule. Alright, so the quotient rule says we can take the natural log of the numerator and subtract the natural log of the denominator. And just like what we did before, we want to simplify this wherever we can. We just said upstairs here that because the base of a natural log is e, that this first term, natural log of e to the 7th, is going to simplify just to a 7. And then we'll pull down the natural log of 14. So that would be our final answer for number 2. All right. Then we get to number 3, and you can see that we're taking the natural log of 14e, and then that whole term is in parentheses and raised to a new exponent of 7. So for this one, because we have this power of 7, we're going to use the power rule. Okay? So the first step with the power rule is you can bring that power forward as a coefficient of your logarithm, in this case your natural logarithm. So I'm going to bring the 7 forward. 7 times the natural log of 14 times e. Okay, so that's our first move, to bring that whole power of 7 forward. And then notice that we're taking the natural log of 14 times e. 14 times e is another product, so I can go another step, keep the 7 outside, and I can break this product up using the product rule. So I'm going to rewrite this as 7 times the natural log of 14 plus the natural log of e, right? And again, as a quick reminder, I like to always do this when I'm showing my work just to remind myself. When it says natural log, that's an implied base e. So because we're taking the natural log of e itself, this will allow us to simplify this term. So this expression here, natural log of e, it's saying my base e, what power could I raise it to so that it equals e, right? So e to what power equals e. So we all know that the answer would be 1, right? Any number to the first power is going to equal that number again. So e to the first power equals e. So this guy is going to simplify just to 1. So carrying everything else down, I already had the 7 out in front. I have my natural log of 14 plus 1, that second term simplifies to. And then just as a final answer, if I want to go ahead and distribute this to fully expand, so distributing that 7, this would be 7 times the natural log of 14 plus 7 times 1, which equals 7. So that would be my final answer.